All right, positive energy all the time. Hope everybody's doing great. Here we go. Here we go. You know the routine. Run those likes up. Hit that hype button if it's there. I think sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and support the channel. We have ATL in the house. We got Nola in the house. We got the Chirac in the house with the beautiful Lolita. We got B More in the building. Of course, to everybody on Facebook, Kick, Twitch, and YouTube, I am representing the Windy City. Where I've been, I've been here, Lolita, just doing late night and posting videos without going live, but I've been late night a lot, 12 at night, 1 in the morning. And I haven't did as many as I usually do, and then I'll catch up. So I'll miss a day, and then I'll do like 4 the next time. But I'm back on schedule. Um, been having to rest a lot because I'm putting on muscle and lifting these weights. At my age, it's causing me to having to rest maybe a day or 2 days later. So I don't necessarily feel I need a lot of rest the next day, but the day after. And it's an accumulation of doing live streams many hours, staying up, working out, and consuming more calories and protein, which I'm not. Hopefully by this summer I'll be adjusted because I had to increase my food intake. As a plant-based vegan, I don't eat that much. So to put on the muscle, I have to eat more. So I'm eating more. I'm working out a lot. I'm knocking out a lot of live streams. And after about 2 days, all that catch up with me. And I'll in a live stream at 1 or 2 in the morning, work out again. And if I go to sleep about 4, I might get up around 2 or 3. I might lay around till 12, 1 in the morning. Then I might just decide, well, I'll just catch up on my lives the next day. So that's what's been going on with the workout. What's going on, Pac-Man? Where you been, bro? UK's in the building. Salute. Seattle, Washington is in the building. Oakland is in the house. Fresno is in the building. Atlanta, Georgia's in the building. Salute to Will of the Most High. Come on in, let us know where you at. We're going to get it kicking. It is 10:41 in the morning, so I should get quite a few live streams out in today. Salute to all my people in UK. General Elijah Farrakhan in the building. Yeah. Cleveland in the building. I'm going to try to weed through some of this confusion about FBA against black immigrants and all that. That's a misconception. Let me start there. That's a misconception. Cleveland in the building. Everybody in VA, what's going on? You all, that is a misconception. Yeah, Mother Nature is a little thrown off. We got a lot of snow out there right now. We haven't had snow like this in about 4 years. Shreveport's in the building. In the building, I'm going to be down there with my girl Kathy a lot. Her and her husband, and yeah, I'm going to invade down there. You know, when Fifth get finished getting everything laid out, I'm going to be in Shreveport a lot, at least 4 to 6 times a year. I will be there. No doubt about that. Supporting that to the fullness. Yeah, I can't wait to check that out. I would say out of all the popular people and where I think 50 Cent right now is my number one person that I support and check out. Yeah, he's number one with me, 50. Yeah, 50 is the man. So I'm going to talk about FBA and African DNA. Boy, people get this so confused. I'm right. I did get your message about you being in Chicago. I was knocked out though a couple days. Miami in the building. Yeah, I seen that. I seen that. Oh, it's finna go down. Yeah, it's finna go down. I know you're gonna figure out a way to get you some of that money, ain't you, Cat? Kathy, right now. I got to get me. Kathy rubbing her ass. I got to get me some of this money. Miami Dade is in the building. So look, there is a lot of confusion about FBA and black immigrants. Lots and lots and lots and lots of confusion. I'm going to try to break it down. It's all false. If you're a black immigrant, FBA does not hate black immigrants. That's totally nonsense. That's totally nonsense. Totally. But FBA have not received any benefits from black immigrants. And black immigrants that came to America, they kind of shot themselves in the foot. You know, real talk. They made some bad decisions. And I understand because they didn't understand, you know, they don't know America. That's what happened. That's the reason there's a split between FBA and black immigrants is because black immigrants don't know America. And black immigrants thought that we were lacking. Typically thought that, oh, you all should have did more and you all are lazy. We're going to come over and do all this. And we like, no, that's not it. You don't know who we dealing with. Now Trump gets in there, shuts down everything black. Black immigrants, did you see that? They took down all the black American stuff, shut down black American DEI, everything. To my brothers and sisters from Africa and the Caribbean, did y'all see how they did us now? Now do you get it? So imagine if you didn't see what was happening. Trump shuts us down. We lose a lot of jobs. We lose a lot of momentum going up. We back here. And then imagine if you come from the Caribbean and come here, do you look at us and say, y'all lazy. Why y'all ain't went further? Duh. Duh. Yeah, I'm not talking about that right now. And don't overshadow my conversation, brother. Don't let me build. Let me build, okay? I'm not going in that direction. So stay with me. You see, I'm not going to say all that. Y'all listen, I'm going to drop this in a certain type of way. I want to go the other route. I don't want to just go, they don't this and that. I'm telling you what's going on. When they come here from other countries, they expect us to have more progress. But that's because they don't know where they at. You understand? So I'm not trying to trash the black immigrants. I'm explaining to you in an intelligent way that's not beefing. I'm explaining to y'all what happened. This is what happened to the black immigrants. They came to America. They don't understand racism in America. So they thought we were lacking. It makes sense if they don't understand racism. They come over here and see all this opportunity and they say, hey, y'all could have did better. We telling them, no, we couldn't. They don't believe it because they don't know. Hopefully now that they hear, they see the Trump administration erase all of our everything we did. Fired, and the whites too, fired thousands of people from the government, white and black. Shut down DEI, which those was black American jobs. They don't got to hire us now. So imagine if you didn't witness all of that and you came here 5, 6 years from now and you'll be like, why y'all ain't doing nothing? Because they shut us down. So the Africans and the Caribbean brothers and sisters didn't believe how vicious the country was until they woke up and got a deadline to get out. And now all of the progress, right? All of the progress, right? That they came here and got, they lost it. They lost it. Facts. All of the progress that they got was just taken away from them. How many African doctors are going to have to go home? African nurses going to have to go home. How many people are going to have to go home? Now, they looking and said, oh, this is what the black Americans was trying to tell us. Now, they never linked in with the black Americans. They kind of looked down on us, said we wasn't doing enough. So a lot of black Americans is like, bye. Not because they dislike you, but you was not an ally. You was an enemy without knowing it. You was an enemy. You didn't come in and stand up for us and really look at the situation. You didn't believe in racism. You thought that if you worked hard, you're going to achieve. And now you got to get out. First, they're going to get out all certain ones. Then they're going to go get the ones been here out of here. They're going to take away birthright citizenship. So if your parents came here and had you became a citizenship, they're going to erase that. If you were African or Caribbean and you was born in the United States, that's going to get overturned. You're going to have to get out. You're going to have to get out because you're here under birthright citizenship. And you are not an American in the eyes of the Republican Party. And the fear of you staying here, keep acting like that, a lot of foundational Black Americans are going to vote Republican. They don't want you back. They want you out of here. A lot of foundational Black Americans want Black immigrants out of here because there's nothing worse than another Black person hating on you when you're already over here. We already over here fighting white supremacy. Last thing we need is Blacks to come over here. Now we got to fight you in, okay? And the mistake Black immigrants made is that they don't understand the American white society. Because in America, the white society stands up for whites because they have to, because they're white. But they stand up for America. So if you have Black Americans and they see Black immigrants hating on Black Americans, they're not going to like you. Because they already got a relationship with us. You're 100% right. When I got stabbed up and I was in UCLA and I was at USC Hospital, the most meanest, worst nurses was the African ones. I even had to request for the African lady not to come, bring another nurse. Do not send her. The Filipinos, some was nice, some of them was bad too. But let's say bad. Let's say you bad at 75. Let's say a Filipino is bad at minus 75, because plus 75 is good. Minus 75, a bad Filipino. The African was like minus 95. She was horrible. My brethren, John Bunny in England, like the year before last, he went in the hospital. He almost passed away. He went in there. And when he got out, he said, Pharaoh, don't ever get an African nurse or doctor. He's from Jamaica. He's a Black Jamaican. So I still got love for the brothers and sisters. They just made a mistake. They made a horrible mistake. And let this be a lesson to Black people all over the world. When you go somewhere, you got to link in with the other Black people. You cannot go and hate them. Now, if you go to Africa, it's going to be a little bit different because the Europeans run Africa from a distance, so it's different. But if you go to Canada, Europe, or America, where Black people live under Europeans, you better stick with the Blacks. You better stick, listen, you better stick with the blacks. Africa is different because the whites run Africa from a distance. So that's a whole, I'll do a live on that, on how you got to finagle in Africa, you know, because Africa is different. Africa is huge, 3,000 tribes. So that's a whole different situation. You understand? But the brothers and sisters came here, made a mistake. Now, what I'm talking about today is FBA Lineage and African DNA. Now, this is going to be heavy. And why I'm talking about this, there's a young sister I watch. I love this sister, watching her. She's like a radical, you know, she's a radical, black, Pan-African young sister. And, you know, her philosophy ain't my philosophy, but I love the energy because her philosophy was my old philosophy. So I love watching the sister, right? So I was watching the sister last night, and she was all off base. She started out, she said, Tariq is in Senegal. And in her mind, because Tariq is FBA, he's a hypocrite for going to Senegal, right? And I'm like, sister, no. So she was dragging Tariq, saying, making it like he hate Africans, but he in Senegal. She's got it all confused. So she's saying, you FBA, y'all leaders, confusion number 3. Y'all leaders got y'all one way, but he in Africa, confusion, right? I'm saying this sister lost. She don't even know what FBA is. And so you got lots of brothers and sisters that don't know what FBA is. FBA is delineation. And a lot of black brothers that's supposed to be militants of Pan-Africans don't like our delineation, but to go to Nigeria, but the term Nigeria is delineation. So we're dealing with people that don't know what delineation is. If you're a Nigerian, that's delineation. You're not an African. If you're an Igbo, if you're a tribe, they have 2 sets of delineation in Africa. You got you a Nigerian, which is separated from the other Africans, and then your tribe in Nigeria. So they're not only delineated by country, Africans are delineated by tribe. There's 3,000 tribes in Africa. That is delineation. So I was tripping how the sister doesn't like us calling ourselves foundational Black Americans, but she cool with them calling themselves Nigerians. And I'm like, wait a minute, wait. Delineation is not a bad thing. It doesn't mean you hate other brothers and sisters. It's a direct description. Like Amara in Ethiopia, Amara, Tigrayan, Oromo, that is delineation. They are delineating. We are Oromo. We are Amhara. We are Tigrayan. And that's the delineation at the least denomination, because they're also Ethiopian. They are not Africans. They're delineated as Ethiopian. You understand? Right. And that's not a bad thing. You see what I'm saying, bro? That's not a bad thing. That's what they are. That does not mean that they hate each other. That doesn't mean that. Every now and then there's some conflicts, but they don't hate each other because they are delineated. Okay? So the sister, she was saying, our leader, foundational, Tariq is not our leader. Tariq is not our leader. Tariq is not the leader of foundational Black Americans. Tariq is just the person that came up with the description. Why did he come up with the description? Because there was a movement for reparations. And in that movement for reparation, there was a group called ADOS. And ADOS was trying to get us to delineate and call ourselves American descendants of slavery. But a lot of foundational Black Americans, we don't want to call ourselves descendants of slaves. This is what makes Tariq's mind start turning, because he wants to delineate, but he like, I know how he thinking. He thinking, nah, I ain't even want to be no descendant of slaves. So he thinking, him and Yvette is at odds, and he comes up with a better description. Foundational Black Americans, which we were already Black Americans. We just put foundational in front of it. I don't know how Black Americans was fine, but foundational Black Americans is not. Okay? Claude Anderson has a lot to do with it, because he was talking about we foundational Black Americans, but Tariq was the one took from Claude Anderson and spread it like that, right? But that was in opposition to American descendants of slaves. I didn't like that. I didn't like that name. Now, foundational Black Americans was futuristic. Why was it futuristic? Because the brother that came over here that said his family come from Ghana, eventually he will be a Black American. Now, people don't understand what a Black American is. It doesn't mean he won't be Ghanaian. It'll just mean he's a Black man and an American citizen. That's what American. American is not opposite of Ghanaian. America's only opposite of Ghanaian if you're a Ghanaian citizen. And then you become an American citizen. So in the future, Blacks that immigrated to the country, their children and their grandchildren will be categorized as Black Americans. They're not going to categorize them by each African country, because that's too many countries for the census. They ain't going to be able to put Ghanaians in the, they ain't going to be able to put all that on up. Foundational Black American just identifies the Black people that were here when the country started. So, me being a foundational Black American has nothing to do with me being of African descent. It does not overrule my African DNA if I have African DNA. It has nothing to do with that. Foundational Black American is strictly governmental citizenship identity for the sake of citizenship. And it's a way to identify which Blacks been here the whole time to separate us from the Blacks that just got here. Now, if we don't separate ourselves and distinguish ourselves, we can't get reparations. You are 1 billion% correct. In order to get reparations, we have to identify that we the ones picked the cotton. Reparations from all is not right, because you would have to get reparations from whoever owes you money. So Milan, if you work for Hershey's chocolate and they owe you money, Nestle don't have to pay you, sweetheart. Everybody don't get paid because Nestle cheated you. Reparations in America has to do with who did the work in America, which is not you. And, sweetheart, the Asian American Chinese got reparations for working on the railroad. Yes. The Japanese got reparations for Pearl Harbor and that war against Japanese, sweetheart. So listen, mind Asian business, stay out of our business, okay? And what you can do for me is tell your people to stop exploiting Africa. Try to do that for me, okay, sweetheart? Tell your people stop ripping off Africa, okay? That's what you can do, sweetheart. Because you Asians are going to owe Black Africans reparations for what you're doing in Africa right now. I'm just saying. So mind your own beeswax, okay? And tell your people when they come over here to a country, treat foundational Black Americans right before Trump throw you out too. And we not going to care. Because you Asians that come to the United States, you're not too nice to us either. Yeah, you're not the nicest people in the world. To be honest with you, sweetheart. To be honest with you, okay? To be honest with you, sweetie pie. Yeah, it's a lot of dirt on the Asian plate. You understand? And I don't know nothing about Africa. I was born in Chicago in 1958, sweetheart. I don't know nothing about Africa, only what I read. I am a foundational Black American. My people suffered here. My great-grandmother, my mother's grandmother, is Sioux. My grandfather, her son, is Sioux and Black. I'm going to talk about that for everybody say we Native Americans. You're mixed. This is my father's father, my grandfather. He's Native American and Black African, mostly African. But we're going to get to that tonight too, because all this, we Native Americans go study, because they was having sex with each other. And they're mixed, okay? So that we're going to talk about that later too. I knew that was going to come. But the Black Africans and the Native Americans was having sex. So why is the white people dying in Minneapolis who stand up for the Somalis and not Black Americans? Because the white people in Minneapolis are standing up for the Somalis because the Somalis are being persecuted. Now, sweetheart, this is going to be the last checkmate. It's the last time I'm going to check you. I'm going to have to let you go. I'm going to have to ignore you. The white people in Minneapolis did indeed stand up for George Floyd. Pop. Knockout. She's down for the count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Knockout. Yes, they stood up for George Floyd. Okay, goodbye. Goodbye. Okay? Knockout. Because those white people, a lot of white people stand up for us. A lot of times. Sweetie, listen. Mind your Korean business. You know what I'm saying? You worry about Korea and what you doing. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Make sure your people, check to see what they putting in that food when we go get that food and stuff like that. You focus on that. You know what I'm saying? Make sure when our people go get shrimp fried rice or whatever, it's really shrimps. That's all I'm gonna say. With all due respect, you worry about your Asian, mind your Asian business. You know what I'm saying? Mind your Asian business. Why you all up in here with yours? See, up all up in our business. See, all the way from Korea and don't know nothing. Look, sweetie, learn, listen and learn. You see how you all the way from Korea and you a little baby and you won't listen to a 68-year-old black foundational black American? See how disrespectful you are? You're supposed to be over here listening and learning. Okay? You listen, if you listen to me, I might save you from getting cancer of the brain and help you get that red dye out your head and put some knowledge on your head, all right? You putting chemicals on your brain. You understand? Don't come over here, baby. Be quiet. You don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? Dun-dun-dun-dun. Kendrick already told you. Dun-dun-dun-dun. I don't even got to say the lyrics. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Okay? Girl, please. Baby, bye. So, the sister was over there tripping. These people got this confused. They think FBA is anti-African. No, FBA is a delineation only to describe that we are the blacks that been here in the 1700s. That's that. It doesn't rule out if we have African DNA. So we can be African descendants and FBA. What part of that people don't understand? We could be African descendants. FBA only goes back to the 1700s. Our lives in the 1600s and back, that has nothing to do with FBA. People don't understand that's not canceling any of your African DNA. That doesn't cancel that. They're trying to make it because you're foundational Black Americans that it cancels your DNA. It does not cancel my DNA. My DNA is Ethiopian and Egypt. My daughter took her blood, went and got her DNA. It says she's Ethiopian and Egypt. Now, I'm not sure if I'm both because I got to get her mother. Me and her mother going to go do it. I'm thinking her mother's Ethiopian, and I'm thinking I'm Egyptian. But I'm definitely Native American and Egyptian, and I'm deaf. And here's the thing. You can feel it in your soul. So in my soul, I don't feel much Native American, even though my mother's great-grandmother is a Sioux. In my soul, I feel Egyptian and Hebrew Israelite. That's what I feel like. Most of my DNA is Hebrew Israelite and Egyptian. And the reason I think that I feel like that, and they say, well, what about your African DNA? It's a strong possibility that my Hebrew Israelite feelings come from Africa, from the Hebrew Israelites when they was in East Africa. So I kind of feel that one of the reasons I feel like a Hebrew Israelite is from the Hebrew Israelites in Africa. So it's kind of overwhelming the Native American. Because also, well, they say, well, why you feel more Egyptian and not Native American? Because it's a high possibility that the Native American in my blood came from Egypt. See, it gets heavy over here. So if the Native Americans that was already over here came from Egypt, and some of my DNA with the African blood I got come from Egypt and Ethiopia, I'm going to pick up Egypt out of my Native American DNA. Because you got to understand, Native Americans wasn't really Native Americans. They had moved here. And that's why they lived in different places, and that's why they was nomadic at that particular time. The civilizations that was here maybe a long time, I think a lot of them got destroyed or moved. So when the Europeans came here, all of the Native Americans was pretty much transient by the time Christopher Columbus came. And those ancient Native American civilizations was already gone. All them civilizations in the Grand Canyon and all of that was gone already. So like a lot of the Native Americans were really immigrants just from a long time ago. So that's why I think I pick up Egypt and Hebrew Israelite. Now, Sunrod told me when he went to Egypt, they told us 85% of us over here come from Egypt. And when he went to New Mexico, they told him the same thing. 85% of the brown people over here come from Egypt. Right? So the sister was ranting and raving, and she was saying, Tariq in Senegal. And I was kind of tripping because I was like, well, okay, because he delineated and he called himself Foundational Black American, what does that got to do with him going to Senegal? Because Nigerians are delineated as Nigerian, which you have a problem with a Nigerian going to Senegal? So if you wouldn't have a problem with a Nigerian going to Senegal, if you wouldn't have a problem with a Ghanaian going to Senegal, why would you have a problem with a foundational Black American going to Senegal? Make it make sense. And then if you're a Hebrew Israelite, you're going to pick up all that time the Hebrew Israelites lived in Kemet from the time Joseph sent for his family. Now, mind you, Joseph's sister had a baby by a pharaoh. So the bloodline was mixed. Akhenaton was Amenephis' son, born, and his mother was Joseph's sister. Yeah, his father was the Egyptian pharaoh and his mother was the Hebrew Israelite. And she taught him the one God theory. And that's why when he became the pharaoh, he got rid of all the gods and said it's one God. He learned that from his mother. His mother was a Hebrew Israelite. You understand? And so the sisters kept saying, our leader, Tariq. Tariq is not our leader. Tariq is not claiming no leadership of foundational Black Americans. He's just came up with the term. That's it. But they try to make him a leader. How you a leader of a term? How you a leader of coming up with a term for identification? So many people think that FBA is a movement. It's not. The only movement is to get people to identify that they are foundational Black American, but foundational Black American is not a movement. Take foundational off of it and you get Black American. Was Black American a movement? Black American is the same as foundational Black American. Okay? Let's get to the thing. When we've been saying Black American all these years, we just changed Black American to foundational Black American. That's it. That's it. The credit goes to Tariq because Claude Anderson inspired Tariq, but Claude Anderson couldn't make it pop. Tariq made it pop. Tariq made it pop, not Claude. Tariq made foundational Black American pop. Claude Anderson been out here many years and we never called ourselves foundational Black American because Dr. Claude Anderson never pushed that. He just mentioned it. You know, I know the history. Claude Anderson did mention that, have said it a few times. Tariq was the one that beat the drum. Claude Anderson was dealing with a lot of issues. Claude Anderson was dealing with a lot of issues, economic issues and stuff like that. He didn't beat the drum for foundational Black Americans. We're not going to change the history and now try to pretend that Claude Anderson was the one that pushed us to call ourselves foundational Black American. That's totally false. Totally. I watched Claude Anderson for many, many years, and he said foundational Black American. Okay, here we go. Yes, he laid out the reason why, but he did not push the label and push for us to identify as that. Am I right or am I wrong? Who pushed for us to identify ourselves as FBA? Claude Anderson or Tariq? Let's just answer the question. Who pushed for us to identify ourselves as foundational Black Americans? Claude Anderson or Tariq? This is how I like to debate. I like to just get to it and commit. I don't like to go round and round. This big Pharaoh. Who pushed for us to identify ourselves as foundational Black Americans? Claude Anderson or Tariq? Raj Kwam. Then we can move on. I asked you a question. How's that an argument? Who pushed for us to call ourselves foundational Black Americans? Claude Anderson or Tariq Nasheed? That's a question. That's not an argument. In my world, you don't answer that question, you're snaking. Yeah, you're snaking around. You know why you're not answering it? Because it's checkmate. And you don't want to be checkmate. You want to keep pushing what you're pushing. I'm trying to get you to stand on business. And now all of a sudden, I don't want to argue with my elder. Da, 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 da. Answer the question. Look, still ain't answered the question. I can't stand phony ass people like this. Bro, you're phony. You're phony. Yeah, you're phony. You're not no stand-up Black man. You're not stand-up. You're not a stand-up dude. It's simple. Who push for foundational Black Americans to call themselves foundational Black Americans? Claude Anderson or Tariq? I just want y'all to see. Look, now, look. 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 Look, look. He said you want to argue. Look, ask him a question, right? He called it argue. See what I'm saying? He called it argue. Look. And then saying stuff on the internet that he ain't gonna say in real life. Well, you know you're not gonna call me nothing in real life. Okay, come back tomorrow. Checkmate. He didn't want to answer the question because I was right. He didn't want to answer the question. He not stand up. He's misusing the flag. He's misrepresenting knowledge or nothing. He can't. He's not no stand up man. Because anybody stand up say, "Yeah, you're 100% right." Tariq is the one that pushed the term FBA. That wouldn't have been that hard to say. He said, "You don't want to argue." It's just a question, bro. It's a question and argument. You know what I'm saying? Now, 1,000 miles away on the internet, I'm a fool. Also weak. You know what I'm saying? This Chicago. Only way that stand, you got to walk right up here and call me a fool. If you can't walk up to me and call me a fool, you get a minus for that where I'm from in the hood. I don't give you that. That's like, oh, okay, you soft. You on the internet with that? See what I'm saying? I just wanted y'all to see people just be talking, don't know what they talking about. Because Claude Anderson referred to us as Native too. He said foundational Black Americans. He also said Native. He said a lot of things, but he never pushed that we should identify specifically as foundational Black American. It was Tariq pushed that, and he went and trademarked it to make sure that we could use it. So he trademarked it so we can use it, and so that other people wouldn't come and take that and use it and turn it into something else like they did Black Lives Matter. So salute to Tariq. He's been doing great work. My point is, he's not the leader. He's not the leader. Of FBA. He just came up with the term. But he's definitely at the forefront of the reparations movement along with the sister Yvette Carnell. Tariq and Yvette Carnell is at the forefront of pushing for reparations in this era. I mean, are we going to be honest or are we not? Yvette kicked it off. Tone and Yvette kicked it off. Am I lying? And this time, in this dispensation, right now, Tone and Yvette kicked off the reparations movement today. That's a fact. You got to keep it honest for the young people watch so they can get the real history. That's just the real history. The person that put me in to reparation was Yvette Carnell. Yvette is the one that got me into the reparations movement. I was sitting down listening to Yvette talk about reparations. And I was sitting here and I used to have a dresser. This was at my last place, like sitting right there. And I had a picture of my grandfather sitting on the dresser. I never forget it. When I meet her, I'm going to tell her about it. And she was talking about reparations. She was talking about how they misdid our ancestors and stuff. And then I looked at that picture of my grandfather. And I thought about all the stories my daddy told me and all the struggles my grandfather went through, even going through the Great Depression, the dust storm. I thought about all that. Then I looked how he was dressed. And when I looked how my grandfather was dressed, I could see that, I could see the struggle. I could see how he was trying to keep himself with some dignity. I was seeing he was trying to dress right, but he didn't have as much money as the whites. You know what I'm saying? So he had to get the best shirt and tie and pants he could get. She was talking about all of that. And I seen that. And I said, wow. That's deep. No, my thoughts with foundational Black Americans is reparations. One thing at a time. We haven't grown FBA enough for reparations. We want people to identify as foundational Black Americans and to first things first, reparations. We want them to start throwing a whole bunch of stuff on the plate because the only reason that we want our lineage is for reparations. In order to get reparations, you have to identify your family back to the 1800 census. Like, I forgot what year, 18-something. And if you could trace your family back to the 18-something census, then you can get reparations. For the people that's really watching me and want to learn. For the others that try to teach on top of me, try to talk a bunch of foolishness and disturb the audience, I see you. You don't have no manners. There's people need to hear what I'm saying, and you're just going out your way like a Luciferian to disrupt the people so they don't learn nothing. You understand? So the delineation and calling yourself foundational Black American and tracing your lineage, foundational means you've been here since the 1700s. A lot of people don't know that. Foundational Black Americans, the word foundational is built on the fact that you was here in the 1700s when the country started, that you fought in the Revolutionary War. Good to see you, Alexis. That's what it represents. Foundational Black Americans represent that you were the ones here that fought in the Revolutionary War before the country started. You understand? That's what it represents. So that's why we're identifying as foundational Black Americans, strictly for the point to say we're the Blacks, our relatives picked the cotton. our relatives was the slaves. Period. Any other brothers, especially, that's talking all stuff and ain't on that, don't listen to them. Because these is agent provocateurs trying to confuse you all over the place when it's real simple. We the first blacks here when they built the country, and we want our reparations for our work. It's just simple, just like that. Simple, just like that. All that other stuff is agent provocateurs. They all over the place, but then when we get to reparations and you got to go get your money, they ain't going to be all over the place when we get the money. They're going to go straight to the money. They're not going to go all around the place when the money. All of a sudden, when we get to reparations, all of a sudden, all these brothers, they going to be focused on getting the money. But now when we trying to talk about getting the money, they all around the world and they can't find their baby. They all around the world. They can't stick to the subject of why. It's an identification. Yeah, they're going to be the first ones in line. So I was trying to tell the young sister, but she had somebody jump in there and say, you should know better and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And we on the internet and I got PTSD, you know. So I just got off the page. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't really talk crazy to short. It's just straight to the point. You understand? So that's why we foundational Black Americans, and that's why you have to trace your family back. You have to find out who your family is. Okay? I'm going to tell y'all the real. I'm not going to tell y'all no bunch of nonsense. I'm going to tell you the real. You have to find your family now. Okay? Don't listen to these people talking crazy. They're going to have you unprepared. Okay? They're going to have you unprepared. Okay? That's all they're going to do is distract you. Foundational. Go get your lineage. Go build your lineage now. There's a brother that be on Instagram and he be helping people with that. I'm going to get him to come over here and go live. Go get your lineage. Don't waste no time arguing with no suckers, okay? Don't waste your time. Because it's a serious, and we're going to get our reparations and also avoid anybody that don't believe we're going to get it. Because you don't get nothing unless you believe. You have to believe to get what you want to get. So begin to get your family information together. Okay? Get your family information together. Don't let nobody distract you. It's lineage, so go get your lineage together. Go get your lineage together so that you're ready. Okay? Start finding out who's who. See, we're doing ours now. You understand? Here's my father, the one at the bottom on the right. The top is the great-great-grandparents. Here goes my grandfather, the second row. Here goes my grandmother. Here goes all their sons. Here goes their daughters. And we are building the family tree. I got a bunch of pictures I got to send. to help a brother. We got a brother in Florida that's working to put that all together. The second row, the picture on the right, that's my father, my mother, and my sister. I'm not in the picture because I was a wild one and I was out in Hawaii probably. So I wasn't there. Here goes the second row. My father and his siblings, everybody except the ones that uh, I think a couple of them had passed away in war and stuff like that, right? So I got some more pictures to send the brother. Here go my daddy. See the little boy in the front? That's my daddy. And all his brothers and sisters. My daddy's the baby. When my daddy went to grade school, his big brother was the principal and his sister was his teacher. He said, boy, it was rough. Well, my daddy, he the baby. So when he went to school, his sister was his teacher and his brother was the principal. My uncle was one of the first principals in Alabama. Boy, that's messed up, ain't it? That's messed up, boy. When your oldest brother is the principal, it would have been better if your brother was your teacher and your sister was the principal. But boy, y'all got sisters. Y'all brothers out there got sisters. Boy, your sister, your teacher. Boy. And she gonna tell mommy everything. Boy, oh boy, can you imagine? I got a sister, she a year younger than me. Ooh, boy. I couldn't imagine if I was a little boy and she was my teacher. I'd rather my mother be my teacher than my sister. Mommy might give me a break. Your sister, you ain't getting no breaks. I swear to God. So we delineating. Now, delineate. To describe, portray, or set forth with accuracy or in detail. So that's all delineating means. It means that we are identifying ourselves accurately and in details, which blacks we are. We are the foundational Black Americans that was here when the foundation of America was built. That's who we are. And people saying all this, but Trump and them know it. They know it. They know who we are. They're going to give us reparations because they know who we are. They definitely going to give us reparations because white America is coming to the facing the fact that, yeah, we are them. And they beginning to face it. And the more we push it, the more they're going to face it. We are definitely going to get reparations, especially once they realize it's going to be the biggest stimulus in American history. Reparations to foundation of Black Americans will put America back on top. Money will be everywhere. White Americans won't lose anything. And poor white Americans will get money right after that. Listen, if they give Black Americans reparations, they're going to turn right back around. They're going to find poor white Americans and they're going to give them some money. And once they realize they're giving Black Americans that money, it's going to be more housing, more automobiles sold, more clothes sold, more food sold. And that white America with businesses is going to make a lot of money. Once they realize how much money they're going to make and how much better the country going to be doing, they're going to jump on it. They just ain't realized that the money not going nowhere. And they're beginning to realize that. This is why they're kicking a lot of immigrants out, because you come in there from Somalia and you're going up to Minneapolis and you're stealing billions of dollars and you're sending it out the country. Where you send it to countries with raggedy governments that's being punked and the terrorists is taking the money. because the terrorists make them do what they tell them to do. So they basically sending money to terrorists that could take the money and attack America's interests. That's what the Somalians was doing. So that money's leaving the country. So the Republicans is definitely planning to throw them out and to go to Somalia and take some stuff. Oh, they're going to Somalia. And then everybody else to do it is going to get found. They're going to throw them out. They saying everybody got to get out. The Jamaicans got to get out. About 7 or 8 other countries got to leave. And they're going to overturn birthright citizenship. So a lot of African children born of African parents going to have to get out. They're going to take away your citizenship. Because if your parents can't just come here and have no baby. And if they find out your parents just came here and had you and you're an anchor baby, you out of here. Because nobody can respect you just coming here to have babies and you didn't put nothing into the country. And see, that's where the Africans made a mistake. The Africans were supposed to come here and breed with us. They would have been straight. Their women should have breeded with Black American men, and their men should have breeded with Black American women. They should have joined our churches. They should have went to our schools. If they feel our schools wasn't up to par, then the African men and the Black American men could have went to the school and made it better. The African women and the Black American women could have went to the schools and made it better. Instead of the Africans looking down on us, they could have came here, moved into our community, and helped us make the community better. Instead, they moved out in mixed communities where whites was at and gave them all their money. Didn't put no money where it could go around. The thing about the young generation, bro, the young generation is extremely wise and extremely smart. And the only thing wrong with the young generation is the old generation. Because if you don't teach them nothing, you can't turn around and say they don't know nothing. You see what I'm saying, Stanley? So ain't nothing wrong with our young generation. Our young generation is only suffering because the American system make the parents work too many hours. That's the honest to God truth. It's not bad parenting. It's working a 9 to 5 and 2 hours to an hour to work, an hour back. What time do you got to be a parent? My mama had to get up and leave for work, and she had to be out that house about 6:37 to get to work in rush hour traffic. And my mama did not get home till 5:30. Now, how could you be a good parent when your children get out of school at 3:15 and the mama don't get home till 5:30? Me and my sister at home from 3:30 to 4:30, 2 hours by herself. 2 hours by herself. Do the math. We had to be at school at 9 in the morning. 9, 10, 11, 12, we have lunch. Then we get back to school 1, 2, 3, 15. We had school 5 hours. 5 hours. My mama get home at 5:30. She parenting 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30. 4 hours. The school got us 5 hours. The parents got us 4 hours. If she stay up late, she can match 5 for 5, but mommy want to calm down. You understand? So the school got us 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 something. 6 hours. The school got us 6 hours a day, but our mama got us 5 hours a day. The school got us 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. Okay, that's 30 hours a week. The school got you. Your mama got you 25 hours a week. On Saturday, the job is set up where you got to be to work at 7:30, 8 or 9, right? 8 or 9, right? Which means when you get off work, what? Everything's closed. So mommy got to do her shopping when? Saturday. Children need new clothes? Saturday. Now, sometime mommy will come on and right away put us in the car and go do shopping or whatever. So sometimes you do it through the week. But as an adult myself, Saturday is so much stuff you got to catch up on. We really only have one real day off with the whole family, and that's Sunday. To be honest, Sunday is the only off day, and then Sunday causes some depression because when night comes, you got to do the rat race all over again. And Sunday night is gloomy, but people ignore it. I'm trying to tell you. They only see their parents a couple hours a day. Exactly, Alexis. I'm telling them the facts. I'm telling them the facts. Yeah, I'm telling them the facts. It's rough. So now tethers. The sister I'm talking about earlier, they was talking about tethers, that FBA be calling Africans tethers. No, also false again. So they were saying Tariq be calling African tethers, but he's in Senegal. That's false. Tethers are not immigrants. Tethers are not Africans, and tethers are not Caribbeans. That's not a tether. That's not a tether. Tariq does not call all Africans no tethers. Tariq has a show that he be talking to people. It's on X. And when brothers and sisters call Tariq from Africa and talk to him mannerable and ask him decent questions, he treats them with respect. And there's African brothers and sisters that call there beefing. The person that answered the phone ain't going to be the one beefing. If you call my show, I'm not going to answer the phone beefing. Yeah, Tariq Radio. Let's get that part straight. They call him beefing. He just answers the phone. And if they talking like they got some sense, he talk like they got sense. Africans are calling from Africa, being disrespectful and beefing. They don't call to ask no sensitive, serious questions. They don't call to have no open dialect. They call beefing. And those are the tethers. Because what is you calling us for? Connecting with us for the beef. Why is you attaching yourself with Tyreek to beef? Because you are a tether. That's why. A tether connects to you. Wants to lock themselves into you. That's what a tether is. They want to hook on to you. So they want to come to the United States. I'll give you an example. You come to the United States. You become an actor or actress. You want to play Martin Luther King. You want to play Rosa Parks, but you don't like Black Americans. You don't like Black Americans, but you get in movies and you play all our heroes in the movie. And other than the movie where you playing our heroes, we don't see you do nothing for our communities. We don't see you really associate with foundational Black Americans at all. But you come over here from Africa and you play our heroes. You take money from Black American actors because Black American actors are high-ranking, more high-ranking than you, have more clout. You have to pay them more money. So African actors come here and undercut our actors and do the job for less. That's a tether. You come here, you undercut all our great actors and actresses, and you do the job for less. And you hurt their business that they built. You come and you take less money. You walk like us, you talk like us, you act like us, only on the camera. That's a tether. A tether, you're a Jamaican. You come to the United States for opportunity. That means you latching on to the opportunity that my foreparents made for you. Without Rosa Parks, you couldn't even ride the bus, right? So you come over here on the backs of us getting beat up in the 60s, beat up in the 50s, and all that. You wait till we go through all of that and we get some freedom, then you come. I'll give you a perfect example of what I experienced. So you come over here, you say you're a Rasta. You get on the stage, you say Black people need to be free, Black people unite, Africa for the Africans, we all stand together, da, 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 da. You get on the stage, you sing all this positive Black music. You're a Rasta from Jamaica. I'm a Rasta born in Chicago. You get off the stage, and now that you ain't on the stage, I'm standing there, you standing there, a Black American go by, you call him a Yankee. You come all the way to our territory. You come in our territory. We don't act territorial. This is for also for the Africans and Caribbeans come over here. You come in our territory, and we don't act territorial with you. We're territorial with opposite gangs and stuff like that. We don't bother you. Right? We don't bother you. You call us Yankees for no reason. But you on stage singing Black love and unity. On stage, you a Rasta. Off stage, you a Jamaican. On stage, you are African, Rasta, Africa for the African. You pretending you're a Rasta, you're an African. You're African born in Jamaica. Off stage, you're a yard man. On stage, you're not a yard man. On stage, you're an African. Africa for the Africans, my brother. Black people unite and all that. Off stage, Me a yard, me from yard, me from on stage, you are African. Off stage, you are yardie. You from yard. Unfortunately, the general is there. Unfortunately, you're surrounded by foundational Black Americans. Unfortunately, if you piss me off, your freedom could be eliminated. You don't know where you're at. See, you don't got no real military because you should know you can't come in our turf talking crazy because we let you walk around here. It's only 3 of y'all. It's only 10 of y'all. You ain't got no numbers. You don't got no numbers to be in LA or to be in Chicago talking crazy. Your number's not like that. It's 50 million of us. You from Africa. You from somebody. Your numbers is little. And the only reason that white Americans is going to like you is if we like you. If we don't like you, they ain't going to like you. We stamp you. Yeah, they legit. That's a fact. So once the Jamaicans especially fell out with the Black Americans, which is what's happening. Black Americans got disenchanted with Jamaicans because the Ross was on stage singing all this black stuff, but all their girlfriends was white, and they didn't really like Black Americans. So Black Americans got disenchanted with them. When Black Americans got disenchanted with them, right? The white folks didn't want to see them no more. They didn't want to see them no more. So the whites say, you know what? This is what we can do. And the whites went and got rid of you. Yeah, that's what happened with reggae. When they seen you wasn't really black like that, they said, well, sure, we could do it if it's phony. And they came and took all the money. They won the Grammys. Yeah. They came and took the money. They came and took the business from you. They shut you down. Now the only way you can make money, you got to go perform in Europe. You can't perform here, nobody won't see you. You got to go to Europe and you got to get on stage with them. Yeah, you got to go get on stage with them. Here, Africans here will not pick up Black Americans in the cab downtown working. They only pick up white people. They coons here, the cab drivers. I got a brethren, he got dreadlocks. And when the cab would pull over, he would be like, yeah, man, take me to 135th Street, and they would take him. He said, because if he talk like this, they won't pick him up. They won't pick him up. And so now you won't pick that brother up, so when Trump tell you to get out, you think he going to stand up for you? They'll make you get out. Not all. It's some cool ones, but one bad apple could spoil a whole bunch. If people having bad experience with certain ones, they just going to say they don't like your whole group when you a small group. When you're a small group like Africans living here, it's not enough for you for any of you to be negative. See, if it's a lot like us, it's enough people for you to meet a lot of positive ones and to meet a lot of negative ones. But when you're in a small group of immigrants and they meet 2 or 3, you ain't no good, they're going to just sum y'all up as ain't no good. Especially when you don't go to our churches, you don't really mingle with us like that. So you ain't got no love. And see, This to all the black immigrants. Let me explain something to you. Y'all got to move better. You got to understand, y'all don't understand white Americans. White Americans, politicians and stuff are smart. And they know y'all don't treat black Americans right. They see it. They see it. So they talk and say, they don't treat black Americans right. We could throw them out. Black Americans don't care. I'm telling you, that's why they throwing them out. Black immigrants didn't realize white Americans are watching you. And they don't like you. Because a white American, if a white man move here from Russia or anywhere, they're going to still treat him like a white brother. That is a fact. We got clubs downtown Chicago when you go, and there's Russians in there. There's dudes from Britain. There's whites from Australia. There's all kind of whites in there, and they are considered white. They got Polish neighborhoods, Italian neighborhoods, and they are all considered white. To the point, blacks is so bad. Black immigrants especially. We went downtown to meet a friend, me and my boy, a friend of ours, was a white dude. And he was down there and he do like electrical work. So him and his crew was 3 white dudes. They working on the elevator in the building. It's a new building they finna open. He working on the elevator. And he says to me and my brethren, he say, you guys are cool. I don't mean no disrespect, but why you black people don't stick together? Like, why the different black people don't stick together? Like they come over here, they don't stick together with the black Americans. Why? So then he showed us, he said, okay, you see them guys doing the floors? He said, they Polish. He said, you see us? Right? He said, like, we Italians. I think he was like Italians. You see the guys over there doing that? There was like another white ethnic group, right? He said, now we're all from different ethnic groups, but we're all white Europeans. He said, we all get along. He said, they in here, we doing electricity, they doing the plumbing, they doing the masonry, they doing that, and we get money. He said, but the blacks, they don't work like that. He's like, this supposed to be black Americans doing that, Jamaicans doing that, Africans doing that. That's what he told, a white dude told us that. And he said, you guys can't depend on those other blacks for shit. He said, black Americans just on their own. All these black guys coming here from other countries and they don't work with you guys. You know how embarrassing that is? He Polish, he Italian, he Greek. Why blacks men don't do that? He said, they right there, they Polish. They only been over here he said they've been here about 8, 9 years. And he said, we don't all like get along because we're from different countries. But he said, but we're not enemies, he said. We're not enemies. We don't hang out like that. But when we go somewhere, we're not paying attention to which white dude is what. We just, with our little group, having a good time. We're not looking like, oh, look at those Polish guys. Oh, look at those Italian guys. He said, we don't do that. He said, but I noticed when I go to the reggae club, the Jamaican guys is racist against black Americans. What's up with that? The Africans don't even, why they come all the way over from Africa, they don't even mess with you guys. I said, I didn't even know what to say. You know how embarrassing that is? For a white man to tell me Africans and brothers from the Caribbean suck? Why they from all different countries and they come here, they just be white, but they don't come here and just be black. They said when we working, we just white. Yeah, exactly. The Chinese, Japanese, and Vietnamese, they say, stop Asian hate. They didn't say stop Chinese hate, they said stop Asian hate. You understand? It's crazy. And now they're going to make them get out. Because they sending too much money. Nigerians sending too much money to Nigeria. Somalians sending too much money to Somalia. The money's not going back. It's not stimulating the economy. It's leaving the country. And not just black immigrants, any immigrants. That money is not staying here, they're going to kick them out. If your money's not staying here, and they can look at the statistics and see you sending a whole bunch of money home, they're going to kick you out. Because they want people that's here that the money's stimulating here. Nobody wants to have money just leaving millions of dollars. Then the Somalis went and started scamming and all. They got the great opportunity to come to the country, start scamming. Didn't even just start scamming. Went and bought all kind of fancy cars and everybody let them see they were scamming. Crazy. And you see what a white dude got shot by ICE? You see what a white lady got shot by ICE? You know why? Because to white America, they traitors. Listen, ain't nobody gonna tell you this. The reason they shot that white guy and the reason they shot that white woman, because they traitors. Because the country then said, put these people out, and you standing up for these people rather than stand up for the USA. And you see these people that scammed your country, and you standing up for people that scam your country and don't care nothing about your country. All them white people in Minnesota that's standing up for Somalians are rats and traitors. Because you know these people then scammed the country. You know they visitors. You know they got an opportunity to come here, and they scamming, and you standing up against your own people. Because America's white. Even a lot of black Americans don't want to admit that. America's a white country. It's 360 million people, and the majority is white, and the majority rules. And white Americans have the right to live good and benefit from a country that they dominated. They put the most money back into the country. They got the most jobs. They pay the most taxes. How could 50 million black Americans pay the same amount of taxes as what? 200 some million white Americans? They pay the most taxes. They're not supposed to be poor everywhere, all in Mississippi and Arkansas and Louisiana. And man, whites is poor in soup lines and everything. How long you think they're going to take that? I feel them. I know why they pissed. They put the most money in the country and then they ain't getting nothing back. Now they politicians is robbing them. But they looking at there's enough to rob and take care of you. Then let foreigners come in here and take all that money. Foreigners taking too much money out the country with not putting nothing back. You understand? So you standing up with basically criminals. And then people would say, well, Pharaoh, you can't stereotype and say they're criminals. Yes, I can. This is what we teach in the black community. If too many black people in Chicago do crimes, we are going to be criminals. Period. So it's your responsibility as black Americans to make the other black Americans sit their ass down. Because if too many people from your group get out of line, the whole group get blamed. You ain't doing nothing to stop it. It's just like a mother and a father got some children, and the children just out there wilding. And then when we go to parents, the parents can say, well, it's not us, it's our children. You're responsible. How you think the murder rate went down in Chicago? Because black men and women got out there and told them gangbangers, sit y'all ass down. We made them sit down. They don't tell you that. We have active groups that's on alert to go where there's problems in the community. That's a fact. We have groups of black men and some women, but a lot of black men in groups with hotlines. And if there's an argument or something in the neighborhood, they get called and they go squash it. That's a fact. They go squash it. We got out there and stopped our own brothers and sisters from acting a fool. That's what we did. They didn't know how to act. We shut their parties down. Y'all can't have no parties. Y'all don't know how to act. No, you can't rent this club. It got shot up last time. No, no, no. Shut the drill music down. Boom, the drill music crashed. When y'all see brothers out here complaining about drill music, they're a day late and $1 short. Drill music been shut down. Been shut down. Them dudes ain't making no money with drill music no more. If you look at the top artists, like Dirk and NBA Youngboy, they do emotional music. They don't do drill music. Dirk just waited too late and was out there trying to slide for Vaughn, got himself in trouble. Listen to everybody tell him slide for Vaughn, slide for Vaughn. But Dirk wasn't doing no killer music like that. He'll do one song. One song. So all them people from all them countries got to be out by a certain date. What's the date they gave them? They got to be out like in another month and a half. They got to leave. Haitians, a bunch of countries. Jamaicans got to get out. They're not renewing. They're not renewing nothing. They're not letting you get no citizenship. If you ain't got citizenship already, you got to get out. Then once you get out, they're going to revoke the rest of them citizenship and they're going to get out. A bunch of African countries and a bunch of Caribbean countries for sure. And then everybody complained and said, well, they're just picking on the black ones because the black ones didn't come here and work with foundational black Americans. They got out here on some solo stuff and they didn't learn how to function in the country. We could have taught them how to function in the country. March 17th, out. And now black Americans don't like Africans at all, or Jamaicans or people. They don't like them. They don't like them because who are you? Our people don't know you. When I was a young roster, that was the time to bond. That was the time to bond when I was a young roster, and they blew it. They blew it. Most of us black American rosters, we didn't even like them Jamaicans because we like, oh, they phony. When I left LA, the Crips was warm with the rosters. Some of my brethren lost their life in California, because of the Jamaicans, the Jamaican Rastas. My brethren, Jabrir, he was from Chicago. But because he was a Rasta, when the Crips seen him, they thought he was Jamaican. They shot at him. They hit him. He passed away. All because the Jamaicans, Rastas, came to L.A. and started mistreating the Black Americans and got into it with the Crips. That's a fact. I'm telling y'all real history. Got into it with the Crips. And a lot of brethren lost their lives because of that foolishness. A lot of brethren trying to come to L.A. and mistreat dudes that's born in L.A. 2-3 generations, some FBA. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let's take a break and then we'll finish. I ain't telling you no lie. I'm telling you all facts. Not taking advantage of a situation, not doing what's right in that situation, and ruined the whole movement, the whole reggae movement and everything crashed because they wasn't really practicing what they was preaching. And that's an absolute fact. That's what happened. That's why reggae is gone. The brethren right there, looking down at the baby with the smile on his face, he's on the right side of Dennis Brown. I'm right there on my knees. That brethren right there, right, looking down, that's Jabunny. We had a spot where we sold herb. So a little back shed. And there's a house here in the back shed there. And we hustled out the back shed at the house. In the house, Jabunny and them was at the house one day. I was already back in Chicago, rehearsing with their band. Some Crips came in there, unalived the whole band, took every instrument, every drum, guitar, amplifier. They didn't even leave no extension cords, no microphone stands, or there wasn't no electric, nothing. No electric cords, no microphone cords. The room was empty. And unalived this brother right here, standing right over the baby. This happened when I got back to Chicago. This lady here, I started working here after I was working at that spot where that house was at. And I got tired of running from the police. But I was the best salesman because I was rolling 60s neighborhood. That was Tuki's neighborhood. And I was the best seller. I was working for different Caribbean people. I was the best sellers. Why? because I was in a Black American neighborhood, and the Black Americans felt comfortable with buying the herb from me more than the Caribbean brothers, because I treated the Caribbean brothers with respect. I mean the Black American people with respect. So I worked for everybody, every hustler there, Caribbean dude. I was the worker. I'm making like $600 a day. That's a lot of money in the 80s. Why? Because I respected foundational Black Americans. So they would come and beat on the thing. Boom, boom, boom. I'd be like, what's up? Well, they used to Caribbean people saying, yeah, I'm on. But I said, what's up? So the neighborhood, they can't see us in there because we're doing something illegal. When one of them see us, we stick the thing to a little. So they beat on there. I say, what's up? And the Black Americans in the hood would be like, who that? I say, it's me. They say, me who? Me, motherfucker. That's what I would say every time. All right, homeboy, let me get two. Man, I got you. Sister call. Let me get one. I want to get two, but I only got $15. Give me the $15. Just bring me the 5 whenever you can, sweetheart. Oh, my man. But that my voice, they can hear I'm a foundational Black American, so I'm making all the money. Yeah, I was in Cali. I had left Cali, went to Hawaii, came back to Cali, and that's when this is where I'm at Cali, at Shantae's record, right next to Juicy. As a matter of fact, at that spot, I ran from the detectives, lost my crown, running through the bushes out our trap door. We had a trap door to escape. The detectives raided the little weed shack. I ran, lost my crown, boom, got on the bus, went to Juicy's, which is right next to this. And my friend, an elder queen named Simret, was in Juicy's. She said, Ramesses, what you doing? She a Black American roster. Ramesses, what you doing? I said, Simret, man, I was just working with Methuselah. I just ran for the police, lost my nice leather crown and all that. She said, Brethren, you ain't got to do all that. Why don't you come work for me at the record store? I said, cool, I ain't going back over there running from detectives every day. And that's when I started working at this record store. Because the Jamaican restaurant was right there, and they had a big veggie plate with plantain, callaloo, ackee, beans and rice. You know what I'm saying? And I started working there and started working there with her. I had a family to feed, and I got tired of running from the police. All true stories. It's in L.A. This is Shantae Records. I was the #1 seller, though, because I was in the hood. I was in Tuki's neighborhood. I was in the Crib neighborhood. Because I'm from Chicago, the L.A., the blacks from L.A., they felt like I'm a homeboy. They wasn't comfortable with the Caribbean brothers. They was comfortable with me. All the Caribbean brothers wanted to work for me because I could keep the Crips in them in line. Because my boy was from the Virgin Islands, and he was friends with the 2 twins that ran that section. I don't want to say their names. So I was going with my brethren, Gold to Pharaoh, rest in peace to Gold. Let me give him some love while I'm talking. I was with my brethren, working with my brethren Gold, and Gold was going to these gang leaders' house and hanging out. They was his brethren because he was from the Virgin Islands, so he really got along with Black Americans. He didn't really get along with Jamaicans he got along with Black Americans. You know what I'm saying? So the Black Americans, they liked gold. They liked my brethren gold. So I was with gold. Rest in peace. I was with gold, and gold took me by the guys that ran that neighborhood. Rest in peace to my brethren gold. And then gold went across the street to get some herb. And when he went across the street to get some herb, sometimes we would go in there and sit. And that's when one of the brethren said, Ramesses, come work for me, man. Rest in peace to my brethren gold to far right. And that's how I started working at that little shack in Tuki's neighborhood. I was working for Methuselah. Methuselah was from like St. Kitts or something like that. He wasn't from Jamaica. Every day somebody had the house, a different person had the shack. So everybody got the shack a different day. This one on Monday, this one on Tuesday, this one Wednesday, this one Thursday, this one Friday, this one Saturday. The next week it moved. So if you got Saturday, you go to Sunday. The guy after you go to Monday, like that. The next week you go down to Monday. The next week you go to Tuesday. So that way everybody get a Friday, everybody get a Saturday, everybody get a Monday, everybody get a Tuesday. So they rotated. There's a bunch of brothers from the Caribbean. But they was all from the Caribbean, and they was in Rolling 60s neighborhood. So once Methuselah hired me, the neighborhood loved me because it's a Black American and there's FBA in here, and they all FBA. So now all of the brethren wanted me to work for them because all of a sudden ain't no problems, nothing. Because I was dealing with the brothers and sisters like brothers and sisters. I wasn't dealing with them like some of them dudes for the Caribbean wasn't dealing with the foundational Black Americans in the right way. I dealt with the brothers and sisters in the right way. You short on money, you come here all the time. Here, you can walk with that. They're like, my man. So we didn't have no problems. Nobody wanted to stick it up. No arguing, wasn't nothing. Because they was comfortable with me, but they wasn't comfortable with the Caribbean brothers because a lot of the Caribbean brothers didn't move right. But he did. Gold did. Gold moved the right way. You know what I'm saying? He moved right. The hood loved him. Because he didn't act like he was from the Caribbean. He acted just like how we act. And he preferred to be in the hood than in the Caribbean scene. He wanted to be in the hood. He wanted to be on the block. He wanted to be around the Black Americans. He didn't want to be around people from the Caribbean. He wanted to be around Black American women, Black American men. He wanted to be around us. So there's always been a problem there, okay? So the Africans and a lot of the Black immigrants, they didn't bring no value to the foundation of Black Americans. And what a lot of Blacks don't understand, even Black Americans, you got to understand that white people judge you on base how you treat each other. That's how they going to judge you. So when they see you come from somewhere and you ain't dealing with they Blacks, because see, that's how they look at it. They look at us as our Blacks, right? Because they got sports people they love. They got football players they love, baseball players they love. So they already in tune to Black Americans. That's why so many whites, if you're on Instagram, it's a whole lot of white dudes that hate racism. They hate the Ku Klux Klan and stuff because there's a new breed of whites out here. They ain't going for none of that racist shit. Now, Trump don't dislike black Americans. Trump likes black Americans. But Trump can't win as a Democrat. He got to win as a Republican, and the Republican got some races. So Trump is over there playing them like suckers. But he ain't on what they on. He just playing them. But he don't trust them races over there. That's why you don't see Trump going after black Americans. Now, some people be like, Pharaoh, Trump is going after black. No, he's going after black Democrats. That's who he's going after. The blacks that's on the Democrats' butt, and he don't respect you because the Democrats never did nothing for you. And I would have to agree on it. That's why when I was supporting Harris, I made it clear I just want a woman in there. I didn't like her. I don't like the Democrats. I only voted for Obama because he was black. I didn't give a damn if he didn't do shit. But that's over people's head. You can't understand that. So a lot of people can't understand that. I was interested in role models for my children. I was only voting for my children. So I can show my children, look, if you work hard, you could be president. Look, if you work hard, you could be. That's all I was into. I used those black politicians to benefit my children. I don't use them to do nothing for me. Y'all better learn from that. When you see black people get a high position, I don't care if you don't like them or not, use them to motivate your children to get an education. I'm giving you game right now. If you see a black person become mayor and you don't even like him, you don't think he's going to do nothing. If you can stop him from being mayor, go ahead. But if he win anyway, what you going to get out of it? What you going to get out of it is show your son. Hang his picture up for your son because your son ain't going to be able to follow him anyway. You just want to motivate your son to go to school, to make something out of himself. You're not trying to motivate your son to follow his political ideology. You using them as a black person so that your children in the street, they see the gang member and then they see Obama. And you're telling them, look at the first black family. Go this way. Oh, look at Harris. Go this way. That's what you use it for. I try to tell black people that. It go over y'all head. You got to take a situation and use it the way you can get something out of it. So anytime you see a successful black person and you don't think you're going to get nothing political out of it, use it to get something out of your children. To encourage your children to go to school, to get good grades, to stay out of gangs, to not do drugs. Get you something out of it. When Obama won, I hung his picture up in my youngest daughter's room. It worked. I hung his picture up. She's doing great. I used it for motivation. I'm giving y'all game. If you're slow, you ain't going to understand. When a black person is doing well, yeah, you want to get something out of it. But if you can't get nothing out of it, use it. If you're Hispanic and a Hispanic person do well, some political, use that for your Hispanic children. Whether you get something out of it politically or not, use it to get your babies through school. if you Asian, if you mixed, and you see somebody that's mixed, make it, use that. If you're real light skinned, you got a mixed, use a person that look like you, that's doing well, that your children can relate to, make that person a hero. So your children do what the hell they got to do. By the time your children get that age, them people going to be gone. It ain't going to really matter. Now your baby's still successful. Facts. I got a lot out of Barack Obama being president for 8 years. I used it. Listen, think about it. I raised 4 teenagers. My last queen I was with had 4 teenagers and our baby daughter. She had 3. She had a set of twins and a boy. And then I brought my son over there. My son and the 2 girls was all the same age. They was all juniors, and her son, my stepson, was a senior. Then we had the baby. None of them go to jail. None of them go to jail. None of them get in trouble. None of them is drug addicts. Nothing. They all doing great. Why? Because I use Michelle, Barack, and their kids, I swear to God, I kept showing them, and then I stood on the boy's neck and terrorized the boys to show them that the police would shoot them out there. You used positive role models, right, that look like your children, and you get what you can get out of something. Get what you can get out of it. And the main thing you want is your children to do well. So the hell with the politicians if he don't do nothing. Now, I'm not saying just vote for anybody just for that. I'm saying once they win, they won, right? All right, what you going to get out of it? Trump is president. What are we going to get out of it? We have to keep our eye on him to see if he open up any economical situation and jump on it. Which is exactly what he's going to do. All he's doing is taking care of whites first. Once he get these immigrants out of here, it's going to be blacks, plenty of jobs. The only thing can get in our way is robotics and computers and the mark of the beast and that. That could get in our way. But other than that, once he get them out of here, it's going to be opportunities for all Americans. And as far as them shutting down that black, I agree because it was being overdone. They was overdoing it. They was overdoing it with the black stuff. They was overdoing it. They was overdoing it. Tearing down old statues and shit. I didn't agree with none of that. That was the biggest mistake they made. Black folks shouldn't have never supported that none. Once they want to tear down them old statues, old Confederate statues, take down Confederate flags, we should have been against that. We made a mistake supporting that. We should have been, we should, because you can't make statues and stuff represent how you want to live. How you want to live in the society you want to build in the future. You can't go knock down a bunch of historical stuff just because it was whatever. It's still history. So once black people supported taking down all that white history, now they taking down your history and putting theirs back up. You shouldn't have never did that. You got your history up. They got their history up. No matter what you say, if a guy was a great general in the Confederate Army, he deserves respect. Our young men gotta learn. Both sides of the war always deserve respect. It's 2 sides to the war. And the South wasn't fighting to keep slavery. The South was fighting to keep their property. The banks up north was trying to foreclose all their farms. They lying about that. and did take all their farms. And when they took all their farms, then you ended up with John Dillinger, Bonnie and Clyde, bank robbers. Why they was robbing banks? Because the government had took their grandparents and their parents' farms. That's the truth. And you know it's the truth because Bonnie and Clyde and Dillinger and them used to rob a bank and the police would chase them. And when they crossed state line, they had to stop chasing them because they didn't have an FBI. They didn't have no FBI. Once they got out the state line, they gone. No, they weren't international banks, United States banks, banks in New York Life, Bank of America, Chase Bank. They was robbing white Americans. The banks in New York and Philadelphia. That's who was robbing them, baby Lane. American banks was robbing them. Because you heard about sharecropping, right? They were sharecropping the slaves. So in other words, I'm a white man. I'm struggling. The other rich white man over there, he got 300 slaves. I got 30. Bad crop. I need seed. I need a loan to get a tractor. I need clothes for the slaves. I need this and that. The bank would loan me the money. When the bank loaned me the money, I got a few slaves. The guy with a bunch of slaves make a lot of money. I don't make nothing. I'm in debt. When I sell my little bit of cotton, it ain't enough to do nothing. After a while, they send down the cavalry, because back then they had forts, and they had the cavalry worked out of forts. That was like the FBI or something in those days. The federal agents, they worked out of forts. They would send a man down to collect the money for the bank or evict you. The dude in the South shoot the guy. Now the banks send up cavalry. When the banks start sending the cavalry to repo these poor white farmers that had slaves, because they wasn't slave owners, they was farmers that had slaves to do the work. The North is now developing new ways to do stuff that the farmers that got a lot of money can buy it, but the poor farmers can't. Right? So it's a land grab. The bank gonna take your land and sell it to Mr. Williams that's making more money, got more slaves. Mr. Williams, when the cotton gin come out, he can afford to get a cotton gin. You still got to use hand labor, and you ain't hardly got no slaves. This is the beginning of industrial farming. So they took all them white farmers' little farms and was going to sell them to the bigger farms. And so when they sent the cavalry down there, then the white farmers down there got together and put together a militia. That became the North against the South. The Confederate was a bunch of white men got together to fight against the banks up north that was trying to take their land because they was struggling. They was running the game on. They was giving them a loan they knew they couldn't pay back. That's a fact. They scammed them people out there because they didn't have a lot of people. Whereas Mr. Jenkins over there, he got 200 slaves. He got 300 slaves. He's doing fine. But you only got 30 slaves. You're going to go out of business. They're going to front you corn seed. They're going to front you corn. They're going to front you beans. And you ain't going to never be able to pay it back. And they're going to come take your land. There's movies about it. There's a movie I seen about a man, he owned a farm. That happened to him. He lost his farm. The son was about 16, 17, and the son turned into a bank robber. because they took his daddy's land. There's a movie about that. That's what happened to Bonnie and Clyde, and that they don't tell you the backstory. They took Bonnie and Clyde and them parents' land from them. That very next group after the Civil War, bank robberies. Real talk. So them Confederate soldiers, they wasn't fighting to keep slaves. They was fighting to keep their land because the North was robbing them. They was fighting against the North. They lied. They wasn't fighting to keep slavery because slavery was over. Because you needed machinery. And they didn't have no money to get the machinery. Even if they would have kept slavery, they would have went out of business. This is facts. Even if slavery wasn't abolished, the whites that had slaves would have went out of business because the slaves cannot pick that cotton as quick as the cotton gin and the new machinery that the rich guy had. He gonna be able to get more cotton than you. He gonna be able to plow faster than you. You out there trying to push a plow with a mule, and he got a tractor plower. Who gonna make the most money? The one that can afford the tractor or the one out with the trying to plow? Who gonna lose their land? The one that got the old plow you got to push gonna lose his land. He can't compete with dude making a lot of money that got the tractor. The Civil War is the beginning of industrial farming. Now look, farms is as far as you can drive. Big old things spraying water from so many feet. The banks were foreclosing on them. Yes. Yes. It had nothing to do with keep the slaves. The banks wouldn't give them the money so they could get tractors, so they could, you know what I'm saying? So the guy that got the tractors, right, Kareem, the one that can get the tractors, the one that can get the cotton gin, he don't want no slaves no more. He don't need them. What are he going to do with them? He don't need them no more. What do you need them for? How they pick the cotton now? People ain't picking no cotton, machines picking it. So a lot of them whites down there that was making a lot of money, they wanted slavery to end. The North was like, we need them up here. We need them to come and do paid labor. They be lying to y'all. This is the real history. They needed them to come and do paid labor. Why? Because now that they got machinery, they picking the cotton too fast. They picking the cotton too fast. So now that they picking the cotton real fast, they're like, man, we don't need y'all down there. We need y'all up here. We don't need y'all down there. How are we going to process all this cotton? See? We making big money. We'll pay you. So now they saying we're going to pay everybody. Come on up here and get this money. You see these black dudes in this picture? They're making way more money than the blacks in the South was making. They wasn't making as much as the whites, but they was making more than they was making down South. Look at all that cotton. Don't it look like they need help? This picture is one of the greatest pictures. They need help, don't they? Because if not, that cotton going to get wet and going to go bad, ain't it? Ain't that cotton going to go bad if they don't get that cotton the hell out of there? Do it look like they got enough people to get that cotton out of there? Don't look like it to me. It look like they got enough people to handle all that cotton? No. So now they got steamships They got all that. That cotton's coming. They're like, we need y'all up here. We need y'all up here. Y'all come up here. You ain't going to have to roll this stuff. We're going to make forklifts, right? They made forklifts. You ain't have to roll it like that. By the time a few years went, I guarantee you this place was full of forklifts. And they call it what? The industrial era. See them chimney pipes back there? Industry. And that's the era. I was born at the end of this era. Me and your parents was born at the end of this era. They worked for Ford, Chevy, right? Factory work, right? I came straight out of high school and what? Worked for what? A book factory. They got their machinery up. You said we are going to need our African brothers for us to survive. No, we don't need them. We don't need you because if brother, you got to be a brother. You said make-believe. The reality, Lucas, a brother got to be a brother. And Africans ain't act like no brothers. So how we need a brother that don't act like a brother? We don't need them. We ain't never needed them. They came over here after we made it, Lucas. So how we need them? When we made it already, we made it on our own over here. We made it by the 70s. We had made it out of the danger. The Africans started running over here after they seen we made it. Black immigrants didn't come until the coast was clear. So you telling me that if you get in a fight with two guys and I'm your friend and I stand there and I wait till you win the fight and then I come and hang with you, you telling me you need me? No, we don't need them. They coming over here trying to eat off of us. If we needed Africans, we would go to Africa, right? Right? If you need Africans, are you going to wait for them to come over here or are you going to go over there? You're going to go over there. So if they need us, why they not bringing us over here, Lucas? If Africans need us, why the African kings and African chiefs ain't sending us no money? Because look, Lucas, keep it real. The Africans is foul. Because places like Ghana got a whole bunch of gold. Why hasn't the president of Ghana come over here and gave us no gold? Gaddafi tried to give us money and the government blocked him. But nobody can stop Ghana because Gaddafi tried to do it through the government. That was stupid. He should have gave stuff to individuals. Nobody could stop him, could have stopped Gaddafi from giving money to individuals. The president of Ghana, why isn't he giving us gold so we can open up jewelry stores? Why isn't he providing cocoa so we can make the chocolate instead of Belgium saying they got the world's best chocolate, but it's Ghanaian chocolate? You don't see the Jamaicans, the Trinidadians, or no Africans sending no business this way to Black Americans. Yet the Chinese is in Africa taking their cocoa butter and sending it to Chinese here. And if you come here in Chicago and you buy cocoa butter and you buy shea butter from these Asian shops, they got all the Africans' natural materials that Chinese got it. Why? Because the Chinese is going in Africa taking stuff and sending it to Chinese in America, Chinese in Europe, Chinese in Jamaica. The Chinese is sending stuff to Chinese. So you can't tell me it can't happen. The Chinese is doing it, but the Africans ain't sending nothing to Black people. Nothing. The Africans ain't sending us nothing. The presidents in Africa, they're robbing their own people. And if they're going to rob their own people, you know they're not going to do nothing for us. They don't even do nothing for their own African people. The Africans don't do nothing for us. The African leaders is lames. They got all them natural resources. We ain't getting nothing. They ain't thinking about us. They ain't thinking about us. You don't see them come and talk to Trump and say, we like to send Black Americans some stuff so they can go into business and take some of the pressure off the country. And we willing to send it to white Americans too. No. They don't advocate for us for nothing. They let the French and the British come take it all, and the Russians and the Chinese. Hell, one African country don't even send nothing to the other African country. If I'm in Ghana, why would I send all that stuff up to the Chinese stuff instead of sending that stuff to the Nigerians and the Ethiopians and the Liberians? I'd send it to the Black people in Africa. No. We got to go. The Ghana government takes gold, gives the gold, let the Jewish people take the gold. The Jewish people take the gold, send it here to the jewelry stores, and then we got to buy African gold from Jewish people. What y'all think about that? What y'all think about buying your wife a wedding ring where the diamonds and gold come from Africa, but you got to buy it from a Jewish dude or an Arab dude that took it from the Africans? You can't get it directly from the Africans. The Africans let them take it, and then them people send it to their people. Then we got to buy it from their people. Our own Black African gold. If you consider yourself an African and you got on gold, you buying your own gold from some other people where they rob in Africa, or your leader in Africa giving it to them for pennies, then they selling you, if you call yourself an African, they selling you your own gold that they got from the Africans. Make it make some sense. You going to Hershey and Nestle to buy chocolate from Africans. And Ghana got all the chocolate. Name me a big Black candy company selling chocolate. When I start talking like that, then much respect to Warren for the donation. Much love, brother, and respect. Just keep it real. Yeah, him and his daddy. Yeah, he started his wealth from an African emerald mine. And he sent them emeralds to guess who? To his own people, his own race, his own color. He might have let the Chinese buy some of them. You know what I'm saying? And then some people say, well, Pharaoh, they won't let us do certain things. Let me tell you young people something. When you think somebody ain't going to let you do nothing, you don't even try. So they got you under mind control. Because if you think, it's like for real, brothers will go to a party, some bad chick in there. He think she ain't going to talk to him. So he don't even go talk to her. You know how many men pass up women because you assuming she ain't going to respond? Now, if you're a go-getter, You finna go spit at her and you gonna roll the dice. Shorty gotta tell me no. I'm not finna, now listen, I'm not finna assume she finna tell me no. Hell no. This also to the young brothers when you're out here talking to women. Stop assuming she gonna say no. Make her say no. Go ask her. And that's what black people doing all over the world, assuming the white man gonna stop you. Well, if you assume he gonna stop you, he already stopped you because you ain't even tried. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me a lot of stuff that black people ain't doing is because we assume it ain't gonna happen. Look, in America, I'm gonna give y'all some more guys. If you're a black man and you want to make some money, stop being a cockhound. Leave the women alone as far as sexually. If you want to make a lot of money, hire all women and you're going to be rich. My next venture, I'm putting at first 5 women together. We wanted to eventually get up to 12. It's just going to be me and 5 women. And we're going to get rich. You know why? Because women is not scared. Men is too apprehensive. Women is go-getters. Now, we got to get the brothers like that. But you can make more money with the black woman than you can with the black man. And I'm saying that so that the black man get like that so I can say the black man got himself together. I'm just being honest. That's why when all them record labels was blowing up in New York, if you look, the underbelly was all black women. Go back and look at Dame and Jay-Z and Rockefeller and all of them. The ones that really made that happen, if you look, it's a bunch of women, underbosses, that made that happen. Go look. Go do the research. Women popped that hip-hop off. The dudes were just standing up there. If the black man take these sisters and go into business, we're going to go far. No, it ain't because women get help and brothers don't get support. That's not true. That's not the truth. You know why the women work harder than us? Because the women got the babies. She can't play. You can walk away from the babies. You can get her pregnant and walk away, but she still got the babies. Look at Africa. You take a male lion. He get a female lion pregnant. She have 2 sons. He run off. He be somewhere. She just out there with the 2 sons. She hunt much harder than him. She hunt hard to feed them boys. The women got the babies. They gonna go hard to feed them babies. The men ain't got no babies, and that lack of responsibility carries over into his business life. That's why a man, right? Now we don't do negativity over here, okay? That's your first warning. Any more negativity, I'm gonna get you out of here. We don't do losers, okay? If you're a loser, just say you're a loser and then just move on. But I'm not gonna let you come with your loser mentality over here, okay? I'm talking to winners. I'm talking to winners. The women got the babies. They can't afford to be lazy. The white man know it. That's why he put them in all the office jobs. That's a fact. Women ran this whole country when it came to office work. The women shuffled all the papers and everything. I got out of high school, I worked downtown. Exactly. That's why they only wanted married men only, because he gonna be responsible, because he married, he got a wife and children. I'm just listen. You can get 5 women to work together quicker than you can get 5 men. As long as there's no sex in there and no flirting, 5 women will not, but men always want to compete against the other man. So if I get 5 brothers, I'm going to have too much friction between the 5 brothers. When I got 5 women, as long as there's no sexual advances and there's no prize, they're going to work together. They're only not going to work together if I sleep with one of them. If I sleep with one of them, that's going to start the bullshit. But if I'm not sleeping with none of them and we just a work crew and they see this we work and get money, I'm going to get more. Listen, right here on this YouTube, who I get the most trouble from? I only get trouble from the men. The men is the only ones come over here hating, want to disrupt my conversation, want to challenge me. Nothing but the men. Exhibit A. You see what I'm saying? See how he's saying the opposite? You can't work with him. You can't work with him. You can't work with him. Because when I say go right, he say, yeah, but you could go left. You could go up. He's showing you. You ain't seen no woman respond. You only seen dudes like that. Tell me I'm lying. Have any women responded and said stuff I had to straighten out as much as him? Has one woman been over here like that, interrupting my conversation, challenging what I'm saying, adding extra stuff that I don't want added? Has any woman done that? The only people over here that give me a hard time, that interject in my conversation when I didn't ask them, that's trying to show they know something, that's low-key competing with me and ruining the conversation is men. I would have to fire him immediately. I would have to fire him. I would have to fire him. I would have to fire him immediately. Working with me, he'd get fired in 2 or 3 days. He'd be fired. He'd be fired. 2 days, he'd be fired. I tell him, pack his stuff, get out. Because he ain't coming to work, he coming to compete. And he ain't no competition. The only men that's successful is men that accept rank and file. And when a man accepts rank and file, he plays his position. And so if you're the number one man and you know a lot and I know a lot, I might feel I know just as much as you. But if I'm number 2, this is the position I'm going to play. And I'm only going to use my knowledge to keep you up here. All my knowledge is never going to be against you. All my knowledge is going to be to keep the business up here. And so if I know just as much as you, I'm going to be here to keep everybody under here from challenging you. Now you can't challenge dude. Holler at me. And dude going to give me the position to fire you. And you never going to get to challenge the boss. Because if you're not a good underboss, You ain't a good boss. The best boss can be an underboss. If you can't be an underboss, you can't be a boss. Because if something happened to the boss, you got to be just as good as the boss, and somebody got to come in to play that second position. Everybody can't try to play the first position and run no company. To run a company, there got to be rank and file. And so any brother over here, I'll take the second, third, fourth, or fifth position. That is a fact. Because people look at me like I think I know everything. I know business. If Andrew want to do a company and he the boss, he going to be the boss. I'm not challenging Sirius B, Panthers King. I would never challenge them. I would play my position, period. I don't care if my position was 10th. I'm finna be the best 10th ever. When the black man learn that, he gonna be on something. Because if you got a number 1 and he's super powerful, you need a super powerful number 2. You need a super powerful number 3. You need a super powerful number 4. So why would a super powerful number 2 challenge the super powerful number 1 when you need a super powerful number 2? So the super powerful number 2 need to be challenging the opposition, not the person they work with. If our company is first 1 and we competing with first 2, and I'm right here, I'm not finna compete with the boss of first 1. We competing with first 2 in them. All my competition ain't for the same person in my company. My competition is trying to get beat the other company. But the black man wants to compete within his own company. That's why you can't beat the white man, because you're going to compete against your own company, and he not, and he going to go up, and the black man ain't going to have a car company, a gas station. He ain't going to sell no bubble gum. Like right now, if we got so many black men, where's our car? Where's our trucks? Where's our gas stations? Since there's so many black men in my chat, not a lot, it's just these few black men know everything. Where's their gas station? Where's the other brothers they work with? They don't work with nobody. They work for somebody. That's why you got rap music. They be lying. You got rap music because the black man couldn't work together. So a dude had to get a microphone and a turntable and go out on his own. That's a fact. The black man always wanted this rap. The black man created rap because he could not work with his brother. We got an R&B group. The lead brothers was twins and hate each other. They're twins. Same mustache, the two little short dudes. Hate each other till today, unless one of them passed away. That's why rap took over, because you didn't have to wait on no dudes. See, with R&B and jazz, you got to wait on some other brothers. I played in bands. It was horrible. It was horrible. Brothers couldn't even get the money. They was too busy beefing with the band. These is all facts I'm telling you. When I was in the street hustling, I made a lot of money. You know why? Because I just did dolo. And the man that was at the top that had all the work, I never challenged dude. Because he the one with all the work, and he is the king. He's the king, and that's just how it is. He the one bringing in the work. I'm getting the work from him. Play my position. Why would I challenge him? He got the connection to the cartels. I don't. Women know that. Because women They don't focus on who. They focus on the bag. And they know if we get together and do this, I'm going to get a bag. That's how women is smart. They don't give a goddamn who running it if you can run it. Now, women got a problem if the person running it ain't qualified. But we have to put the most qualified person in power. See, white men is like this. You'll get 5 white men together. They say, let's start a company. We're going to start this company. They'll say, okay, who's going to be the boss? They'll be like Jeff. I got a lot of white friends that got companies. Stuff. I'm telling you, straight up, they'll all say Jeff. They'll all say it. They will all pick the one that really is the one. Everybody know Jeff is the one. Everybody know that? They will pick Jeff. Jeff is our man. And they do everything Jeff said because they picked Jeff and they believe Jeff was the man. So they're not going to question Jeff because they agreed he the man. Win, lose, or draw, whatever Jeff say, they're going to go with. If it don't work, Jeff be like, sorry, guys, I thought it was right there. It's cool, Jeff. So they picked Jeff. They started a company. I got some friends like this. It was 4 dudes and a white girl. They lived in an apartment. They had a 2-bedroom. They had bunk beds. Set of bunk beds in one room, a set of bunk beds in another one. The 2 dudes slept in the 2 rooms, and the girl slept in the living room on a pull-out bed. They wanted to start this company. So they started this company. The one dude was their leader. The white girl, she slept in the living room. And she slept in the living room, and it worked out because they had a phone in the living room. And when they running these companies, you got to make calls at 3 in the morning. You got to make calls at 2 in the morning. Why? Because you're on American time and you're doing deals with somebody in England, and you got to call them at 9 in the morning, England time. You got to call China at 9 in the morning, China time, which might be 2 in the morning here. So she made all the international calls on time, right? They put the one dude on top and there's them 4 under there. The company took off. When they went up like that, the dude at the top, let's say he'll get 175 a year, and they'll get 125 a year, right? They cool with that. They want him to get more than them. They want him to get the most. So he getting 125,000 a year or 150,000 a year, and they getting 115, 125 a year. They went up like this. He getting a million. He getting $1 million a year. They getting 800,000. Go up. He getting 3 million a year. They getting like 250 million a year. When they get up so high, they hire a bunch of other people. Now, one of these dudes is picked to be the supervisor of these ones. And they do the same program. These ones, right, be pushing, right, for the whole thing to go up. How would a so-called Rasta man be against Pan-Africanism when Haile Selassie himself was a Pan-African? Who told you I was against Pan-Africanism? Who told you that? I wouldn't say I'm against Pan-Africanism. I would say Pan-Africanism ain't going nowhere, and I ain't got time to wait on motherfuckers like you for Pan-African to work. I'm saying that you, black man lying, you a Pan-African, you're not going to do nothing, and I'm not sitting around waiting on a bunch of people like you to achieve something in Africa. That's the thing, that you Pan-Africans is a bunch of busters, ain't standing on nothing, and y'all ain't really going to do nothing. And Pan-Africans, I'm 68 years old. I've seen thousands of Pan-Africans like you come and go. Come and go. As a matter of fact, I can't verify you a Pan-African because you're over here using a bootleg name, black man lying. You ain't even standing on no real Pan-African business. You say you've seen a bunch of tens of thousands protests in ICE, and they say Chicago is segregated, bad, and needs to come together. They only saying that because they want us to come protest because 2 white people got shot by ICE. Them same people saying that don't give a damn about us. You're not wrong for asking a question. It's the way you ask the question. You call me a so-called Rasta. That was disrespectful. Face to face, if you would have said, how's a so-called Rasta, right there, some furniture would have been moving around. Right there, I would have disrespected you. You didn't come to me like no king. Listen, did you come to me like you was a king? No. You came to me with disrespect. I'm a Rasta. But I'm a realist. And if brothers want to go to Africa, I support that. I just ain't going. Because the reality is Africa sucks. And the reality is Ethiopia turned against Haile Selassie. Mengistu took over and 2 million Ethiopians got unalived. The reality is Rastas went to Shashamani and the Ethiopians beat them up and they all had to leave. So see, you the one ain't no Rasta because you don't know the history. Rasta failed in Shashamani because the Ethiopians don't like Rasta. So you talk about something you don't know nothing about because only certain Ethiopians like Haile Selassie, because in Ethiopia, you got Amara, Tigrayan, and Aroma. And the Aroma and the Tigrayan, they don't like no Ethiopia. So Ethiopians don't even like Haile Selassie. Just the Amara, the only ones like him. So how you going to go to Ethiopia when a lot of Ethiopians do not like Haile Selassie? So when my brethren went to Shashamani, they got beat up and chased out. And they took a bulldozer and bulldozed the Rastas camp. So my question to you, should I sit around here waiting for brothers like you to go to Africa, or should I live my life? How long you want me to wait? I'm 68. I've been a Pan-African since I was 20. Have black folks repatriated to Africa? No. Has Rasta repatriated to Africa? No. Don't you think I waited long enough? Honestly. You want me to push that my whole life, something that never happened? I was a Pan-African before you was born. And it went nowhere. Let me ask you a question. Has Pan-Africanism succeeded all these years? Yes or no? Yes or no? As far as what is FBA doing, we just formed FBA. Look at his foolishness. He said, what is FBA doing? Yeah, Pan-Africanism since Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey never made it to Africa. We just started calling ourselves FBA. 2 or 3 years. And he's saying, what is FBA doing? Comparing FBA, that's a 3-year ideology, to a Pan-African that's 60 years old. That's how you know this dude is a fraud. Bro, stop talking to me. You're not smart. You're a fraud. You're not dealing with this realistically. How you going to compare FBA? How you going to compare FBA to Pan-Africanism, and Pan-Africanism go back before Garvey, and FBA, the concept of FBA. And FBA is not about going away. FBA is about getting reparations. So what do you mean what FBA is doing? FBA is trying to get reparations. You don't even know what FBA is. All right, well, stick with it then. And go watch some Pan-Africans. Don't watch me. Go to the Pan-African channel. If you're a G, if you're a Pan-African, why would you watch FBA? Go watch Pan-African, right? If he a Pan-African, ain't you supposed to be watching Pan-African stuff? He don't believe in FBA, but he watching FBA. See, weirdos. You don't believe in FBA. You see FBA and you click on it. Listen. First off, we haven't even got everybody to recognize that we identifying ourselves as FBA. So you know this brother, Black Man Lion, you know he's a hater and he doesn't know much. Right? He doesn't know much. You know he's a hater. Because he doesn't know much. Because nobody would ask what FBA is doing when right now FBA is just trying to get everybody to even recognize the FBA, right? So if he really knew FBA, he would know I'm doing FBA work right now, getting foundational Black Americans to identify as foundational Black Americans. He doesn't even know what FBA is. He's a Pan-African, but he won't never pan to Africa, and he won't go talk to no Pan-Africans. This is the problem with the Black man. If you're a Pan-African, you're supposed to be on Pan-African platforms. You're not supposed to be on FBA platforms. You don't see me trolling Pan-African platforms. They doing what they doing. I'm doing what I'm doing, like a man. But when you see a man go and troll something he don't believe in, that's not a man. And you can't go to Africa with nobody that would do that. Also, I've been doing this since I was 20. Brothers like that won't be no Pan-African but 2 years. He'll be gone. Y'all know how many Pan-Africans I've seen come and go? Listen, if everybody that was a Pan-African was still a Pan-African, how big would Pan-Africanism be? You know why Pan-Africanism ain't so big? Because all them brothers over the years, since 1978, that said it was Pan-Africans, did not stay Pan-Africans. They all fell off. They all turned back to Negroes. They all turned to Christians, and they stopped being Pan-Africans. But you can't stop being FBA because FBA is your lineage. So you know the brother's slow because he's saying, what is FBA doing? He don't even know what FBA is. He think FBA is a group, an organization. See? He said, what is FBA doing? FBA is not a group, bruh. FBA is not a group. FBA is an identification for lineage. So he trying to compare calling you identifying as a foundational Black American. He trying to compare that to being a Pan-African. That don't compare to being no Pan-African. A Pan-African is ideology that you join. It's an ideology. Foundational Black American is a name for your lineage. Much respect, Sirius B. That's all it is. I'm trying to help brothers and sisters realize FBA is not a group. FBA is Black Americans with the word foundational in front of it. So instead of being Black Americans, we're saying we're foundational Black Americans. Why? Black is based on we brown. American is our citizenship. As more Black immigrants come over here and have children, 2 generations down, their children will technically be Black Americans. So if your granddaddy was a Nigerian and you've been here, you're Black, and you what? An American citizen, right? So we're foundational Black America to say we're Black just like the brother. We're American like the brother, but we're foundational Black Americans. That means we're the Blacks that been here from the 1700s. Okay? That's what it means for everybody, all y'all that's saying you FBA. It's not a group. You are saying, you're not saying you're a group. You're saying that your family goes back to when the country started. You understand? That's what you're saying. Okay, well, go to a Black is Black, and it don't matter. Go to one of them channels. That's not the channel for you, Tom, right? That's what it means. It just describes which Blacks been here during the Revolutionary War. That's what it means. So a lot of people that's going to argue with you about FBA don't know what it is. You understand? You're going to be arguing with people that do not know what FBA even is. FBA is an identification of lineage that identifies you as the people that been here since the founding of the country. That's what it means. That's it. That's all it means. Foundational. That you've been here since the foundation of America. That's all it means. The people that's against it don't know what it means. Because why would you be against that? Why would you be against people that's identifying that their family goes back to the 1700s? Do that sound like something to go against? That's not nothing to go against. Do that sound like something to go against people identifying that their family traced back to the 1700s? So you could be a foundational Black American, Pan-African. If I was a Pan-African, I would still be a foundational Black American. If I was a Hebrew Israelite, I would still be a foundational Black American. If I was a Muslim, I would still be a foundational Black American. Those ain't the same thing. I would be a Muslim, a Black Muslim, whose family been here since the 1700s. I would be a Pan-African whose family has been here since the 1700s. Pan-Africanism is not the opposite of foundational Black American. That's why the brother was arguing, didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He doesn't know what a foundational Black American is. He thinks it's a group. It's not a group. It's a lineage. It's a lineage. It's not a group. I am a Rasta, and I am a foundational Black American because my family has been here all the way back to the 1700s. White folks going to need to do the same thing and be Heritage America to separate them from white people that came later. Yes, they need to do that. The whites that family traced back to the 1700s must separate themselves or identify themselves different than immigrants that came over in the 1970s, 1960s. They need to identify that they was the ones that was here during the Revolutionary War. That's all that's going to mean. Whites need to identify that. If your family goes back to the Revolutionary War, you need to be Heritage Americans. For sure. It's lineage. It's not a group. You can be a foundational Black American Rasta. They say, how you going to be a Rasta and foundation? Because my ancestors wasn't no Rastas, and I'm still connected to my ancestor. My mama and daddy wasn't no Rasta. So because I pick up the Rasta ideology, I'm still the son of my mama and my daddy, and that's still my lineage. My lineage don't go away because I'm a Rasta. My lineage don't go away because I'm a Pan-African. So Pan-Africans is slow. That's why Pan-Africanism is not going to go nowhere, because FBA is not the opposite of Pan-Africanism. They're not even in the same league. FBA is lineage. Pan-Africanism is a Marcus Garvey philosophy. It's not lineage. There's no Pan-African lineage. There's no Pan-African lineage, okay? So all you brothers and sisters that's Pan-African, stop thinking that Pan-Africanism goes against FBA. It does not. It does not. Those are two different things. They're not competing. You can be any kind of FBA. FBA ain't about your philosophy. It's your lineage. And if your relatives was here back to the 1700s, you FBA. It's nothing you join. So you brothers that's revolutionaries or Pan-Africans, if your parents, if your family goes back to the 1700s, you're still FBA. So when you see a brother comparing FBA, right, to Pan-African, their brother's dumb. Because those don't compete. You can't compare that. They're not in the same league. Pan-African is ideology. FBA is lineage. Lineage is not the same. Rastafari is ideology. FBA is lineage. So if you're foundational Black Americans, you need to know it represents lineage. And you should not be arguing with somebody that don't understand that. You're just wasting your time. Do not argue with no Pan-African, because if a Pan-African argues about foundational Black Americans, they slow. They don't know what it is. And in a year or two, Pan-Africans are going to be calling themselves foundational Black Americans, because they're going to realize the two don't clash. You can't say, I'm not FBA, I'm a Hebrew. If you're a Hebrew Israelite and your ancestors was here in the 1700s, you are a foundational Black American. And if you're from Ghana or Nigeria and you have a son and then they have some children, they will be Black Americans. They won't be foundational Black Americans, but they will be Black Americans. You're going to have foundational Jamaicans and foundational Haitians. And a foundational Jamaican would be the Jamaican that been there when the first Blacks was there and Jamaica was made a country. So whenever Jamaica became an island and got a name and got a government, all the Blacks there, when the Jamaican government was formed, would be foundational Jamaicans. All the Haitians that was there, when the Haitian government was formed and the Haitian flag was made, they would be foundational Haitians. Duh. It just means you've been there ever since the country started. It's real simple. If you've been in Ghana and your family go all the way back in Ghana and somebody else moved to Ghana 2 generations ago, you would be a foundational Ghanaian, and the ones that moved there in the 60s, they would just be a Ghanaian. They would not be a foundational Ghanaian unless they was there when Ghana became Ghana. You can apply the foundational ideology and reality anywhere in the world. That goes for everywhere. Tell me I'm lying. If you was in Ireland, when Ireland became Ireland and set up their government, you would be a foundational Irish because you was there during the foundation of the country Ireland. Anybody that argues with that is slow. This is a concept that every country will adopt. Every country will begin to separate the lineage of the people that been there from the beginning from the people that came later. Everybody's going to do it. Remember, I said it first. Everybody's going to start identifying who's foundational and who came later, especially the Black countries that want reparations. You're going to have to prove, if you want reparations for what the Spanish did to you, you're going to have to prove you was there when the Spanish did it. Duh. Duh. If you're a Haitian and you want reparations from the French, you're going to have to prove that your family was there when the French was there. How are you going to get reparations from the French if you wasn't there? Duh. People are making it something it's not. And I'm going to explain to you what it really is. So get off of Tyreek. So if Tyreek goes to Africa, that has nothing to do with him identifying that his family was here when the country started. That don't mean you can't go to Africa. Duh. That's like saying a Nigerian can't go to Kenya because he's a foundational Nigerian. Just because I'm a foundational Black American don't mean I can't travel. What? And it doesn't mean I hate Africans. What? Tethers are people that hook themselves to your cause and exploit your cause to get somewhere. Yeah, Heritage Americans in there 100% right because they realize that they got to separate themselves from all the whites. South Africans are coming over here and whites that came over here in the 1900s. They said if you came to the 1900s, you wasn't at the party. You wasn't at the Tea Party. You can't claim what they claim. You were Johnny come lately. And a tether is not immigrants. A tether is somebody that connects themselves to you for their own benefit, but don't really have no love for you, but connects themselves to you. That's a tether. It's not, Africans are not tethers. Black Caribbeans are not tethers. Okay? A tether is a specific person that connects themselves to you, but don't like you, that will come and talk like you and act like you to get movie roles, but do not like you, but will use your culture to make money. That's a tether. There's somebody that pretends they you for their own benefit, but do not like you. But because there's money there, they're going to walk like you, they're going to talk like you, like that. That's a tether. And too many Africans are absolutely tethers. No doubt. So what we're going to do, though, coming up real soon, we're going to be honoring Rosa Parks. Her birthday, I think, is on the 4th of February. It's on the 4th of February. I'm going to honor her. I'm going to start really pushing her hard because she don't get enough respect for standing up for us. If it wasn't for Rosa Parks, you wouldn't be on no airplane. You wouldn't be on no bus. You wouldn't be in no Uber. You wouldn't be in no car. No African would be here. No Caribbean would be here because they wouldn't have let your black ass on the plane. And so I'm expecting black immigrants that came to America on a plane, that be on buses in America, that take cabs in America, to honor the black woman that made that possible for you. And this is my problem I got with black immigrants. That's why they be acting a little tethery, because you coming over here on this woman's back, but you don't celebrate her. That's like me going to South Africa, right? And go to the beach, right? Right? Imagine that I went to South Africa and went to the beach and didn't respect Winnie, didn't give honor to Winnie, because without Winnie, I can't go to no beach in South Africa. Keep it a billion. How could I go to South Africa and go to the beach, right? But don't honor Winnie Mandela? Tell me how. Tell me how. Tell me how. How could I go to South Africa and don't respect Winnie Mandela when she changed this and made it so I can go on the beach? I got to respect her. And that's what black folks going to have to start doing international. when you go in another black place, respect whoever made it possible for you to do it. So respect Winnie Mandela and respect Rosa Parks in February, the first week in February. Start honoring Rosa Parks. All right? And make sure you support the channel because your support goes a long way. And make sure you stay positive and make sure you stay warm, okay? Make sure you stay warm. All right? Make sure you stay warm. Okay? Make sure you stay warm. Make sure you take care of yourself and stay warm. Because the storm is not no joke. So don't play with it. Because the storm is not no joke. All right? And I'm going to leave you, of course, with some history. All right? Check it out.
13 corporations that profited from slavery. So here we go. Number 1, J.P. Morgan Chase. Between 1831 and 1865, 2 predecessor banks, Citizens Bank and Canal Bank in Louisiana, accepted approximately 13,000 enslaved individuals as collateral on loans and took ownership of approximately 1,250 of them when the plantation owners defaulted on the loans. Number 2, New York Life, an insurance company, sold insurance policies on enslaved Africans. Number 3, Wachovia. 2 historical predecessors owned enslaved Africans and accepted them as payment. Number 4, N.M. Rothschild and Sons Bank in London. Nathan Mayer Rothschild, the banking family's 19th century patriarch, made personal gains by using enslaved Africans as collateral in dealings with a slave owner. I have a list of this, so if I stumble, it's because I have a lot of chicken scratch. Number 4, Norfolk Southern offered slaveholders $180. That's $3,379 today. This article was written in 2013. So that's $3,379 today a piece for enslaved Africans they would rent to the railroad for 1 year. The Central Georgia, another company aligned with Norfolk Southern Line today, valued slaves at $31,303. Today that would be $663,033. Did I say that right? Yes. $663,033. Hopefully that came out right. Sounds weird. Number 5, U.S. Today found that their parent company, E.W. Scripps and Gannett, had links to the slave trade. Number 6, Fleet Boston evolved from an early financial institution. Providence Bank founded John Brown, who was a slave trader and owned ships used to transport enslaved Africans. The bank financed Brown's slave voyages and profited from them. Brown even reportedly helped charter what became Brown University. Number 7, CSX, used slave labor to construct portions of U.S. rail lines under the political and legal system that was in place more than a century ago. 2 enslaved Africans were John Henry and Reuben. The record states they were to be returned clothed when they arrived to work for the company. Number 8, Canadian National Railway Company. The Mobile and Ohio, now part of Canadian National, valued their slaves lost to the war and emancipation at $199,691 on record. That amount is currently worth $2.2 million. Whew. Number 9, Brown Brothers Harriman, the oldest and largest private investment bank, founded 1818, owned hundreds of enslaved Africans and financed the cotton economy by lending millions to Southern planters, merchants, and cotton brokers. Number 10, Brooks Brothers, high-end suit retailer, got their start selling slave clothes to various slave traders in the 1800s. They got their start by selling slave clothes. Number 11, Barclays. British multinational banking and financial services company headquartered in London, has now conceded that companies brought over the years may have been involved in the slave trade. Number 12, Lehman Brothers. This business empire started in the slave trade. Quote from Joe Pellizzotto: "This is a sad part of our history or our heritage. We're deeply apologetic. It was a terrible thing. There's no one sitting in the United States in the year 2005, hopefully, who would ever in a million years defend the practice." 13, Aetna. Aetna? Aetna. U.S. largest health insurer, apologized for selling policies in the 1850s that reimbursed slave owners for financial losses when the enslaved Africans they owned died. Aetna has long acknowledged that for several years shortly after its founding in 1853, that the company may have insured the lives of slaves. A few other corporations, companies that profited from slavery: Princeton, Harvard Law School, Tiffany & Co., Bank of America, Yale University, and Wells Fargo.